Welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown Steven Brown, and in today's video, two things, guys. First off, I would like to apologize because I did make a couple of mistakes in yesterday's video. I fudged up a name on the taxi squad, and then I did not see this tweet when I was recording the video. By the time this tweet was posted, I was already editing and rendering and uploading the video, and I didn't get a chance to see it, and I saw it several hours later. But the main point of yesterday's video was to explain why Travis Dermott being reintroduced into the Maple Leafs' top 6 defensive core would be bumping Mikko Leighton. I explained exactly why in that video yesterday. Go ahead, I will link it above the screen if you would like to check that out. And in response to the tweet that Chris Johnston posted, Aaron Dell being on the Toronto Maple Leafs' roster would still have them at 21 men in total and $566,000 left on the salary cap. And Aaron Dell still being on the Toronto Maple Leafs' roster a day before the season starts means a couple of things. One, he's going to be there all season long and the Maple Leafs are just going to roll with 3 goalies. 2, they think that if they would place him on waivers, because he is not exempt from waivers, in order to be placed on the taxi squad, he would need to clear through waivers first. They might think that he might get claimed. Or 3, they're waiting for other teams to place goalies on waivers. This way they can place Dell on waivers at the same time as the other teams placing their goalies on waivers, and it kind of camouflages him a little bit. So this is what the Maple Leafs' lineup is looking like if they were to go with 12 forwards and 6 defensemen. But if they decide to go with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen, which I suspect that they will do most of the time anyway, this is what the lineup would look like. You'd just be swapping out Alexander Barabanov in favor of Mikko Leighton. And then, like I said in yesterday's video, in this case, I think that Zach Bogosian takes on more of a penalty-killing specialty role. But if the Maple Leafs do get lucky and they do sneak Aaron Dell through waivers and they're able to place him onto the taxi squad, you're going to see the benefit that this would create for them, because it would allow them to carry 20 players on the roster and they'd have some extra cap space to kind of work with. And Barabanov there as the 12th forward is more of just a placeholder. It could be any one of the forwards that the Maple Leafs would possibly have on their taxi squad. It's not finalized yet. Travis Boyd and Adam Brooks still need to clear through waivers in order to be on this list. If they don't get claimed, then they would have a couple of other forwards to pick from, including Nick Robertson. And that $1.3 million in the corner there is not necessarily safe. They're not going to be using a 20-man roster for the entirety of the season. They might have 21 or even 22 guys on it eventually. But for now, they can take advantage of everyone being healthy and just bank as much cap space as possible. It doesn't make sense to healthy scratch a guy who is exempt from waivers and pay him for the day. If you're not going to use him in that game, or if you have an off day, send him down and save the money. Again, I did a much better job explaining it in yesterday's video, which is linked above the screen already, and it will be at the end of this video as well. But now for the main thing that I wanted to talk about in today's video. The Toronto Maple Leafs need to be all in 2021 because of the North Division and the path to the Stanley Cup that it does present. With the way that the NHL playoffs are formatted this year, it is guaranteed that one of the 7 Canadian teams will be part of the Final Four. All the Leafs have to do is be better than the Jets, Flames, Canadiens, Canucks, Oilers, and Senators, and they will be in a makeshift conference finals. They got to play each of the Canadian teams 8 times in the regular season, and then they got to play 2 of them in the playoffs to get to the Final Four, but they're already favorited to win the North Division, to be the best team in the Canadian Division by multiple sources. If there was ever a year to trade a top prospect or a first-round pick at the trade deadline to load up, this is the year. And what you have to understand is if the Maple Leafs have to put Mikko Leighton on the taxi squad and not play him some games and use 12 forwards and 6 defensemen and 11 forwards and 7 defensemen other nights, if that's going to help them save cap space so that they can later improve the team at the trade deadline, it's not about the best possible team that you can ice on opening night. It's about the best possible team that the Toronto Maple Leafs can ice come the start of the playoffs. I'm sure that the Maple Leafs would love to have Pierre Engvall, who was one of their better defensive forwards last season, on the roster for the entirety of the regular season, but the circumstances is that he makes $1.2 million and the Maple Leafs can't swing that right now, and he's also running out of options when it comes to waivers. He loses his waiver exemption if he plays 7 more games, and that would create a sticky situation, so he's not going to be playing very much this year for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He might get into a couple of games, maybe 5, 6, or 7 or so to do a tune-up, but the beauty of it is that come the playoffs, there is no salary cap. There are no waivers. This is where the Maple Leafs stand right now. The OHL season, once it starts, Nick Robertson is not allowed to be on the taxi squad. I said that in yesterday's video. The Maple Leafs need to bank enough cap space or save it here and save it there. Couple $1,000s here, couple $1,000s there to be able to afford to have Nick Robertson on this active roster by the time the OHL season starts, because once that starts, he's not allowed to be on the taxi squad. He needs to be on the active roster, and if they haven't banked enough cap space by then, they're going to have to send him back to junior. And the thing is that we have no idea what a possible OHL season could look like, or if one is even going to happen. What if they come back and their season is not short enough? What if it bleeds into the Stanley Cup playoffs? And then at that point, Nick Robertson might not be around for the start of the playoffs. And if you're looking at Nick Robertson, don't tell me that you don't want him on the playoff roster. Being all in doesn't necessarily mean guns blazing right out of the gate. It means hiding in the weeds, tiding your time, waiting for an opportunity to strike, saving the couple of $1,000s here or there, like I already said, and being your best possible version of yourself when it matters the most. And that's in terms of the Toronto Maple Leafs, or you, the viewer, or me, sitting right here in this chair. Don't be frustrated that the Maple Leafs aren't icing their best possible roster on any given regular season night. It's not about that. I mean, I would prefer if they finished first in the division, because it would matter. It would have implications for seeding later on in the Final Four in the last 2 rounds of the playoffs. But as long as they finish in the top 4 in the Canadian division and they're the best team in the first 2 rounds there, I don't really care. And if the Maple Leafs are the best Canadian team and they do make it to the Final Four, you're not going to put an asterisk beside it, because that would mean that they would have won 8 playoff games and they've only won 11 since 2003, 2004. And if they make it to the Final Four and they win that round and they make it to the Cup Finals, that would mean that they would have won 12 playoff games this year, and that's more than they've won in the last 17 years. So you're still not going to take it away from me. And at that point, if they win the Stanley Cup, that person, the future person in the comments section, you're not taking it away from me. The first person to say "but actually" gets a bowling ball thrown at their head. Are you hype? Because I am. Are you ready for the season to start? Because I most definitely am. This is an opportunity that the Maple Leafs cannot waste. And they can't look at it like it's theirs to lose, because it's not. They have to work for it, and they have to earn it. And if they do, it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. So make sure to like the video if you did like it, and subscribe for more, because more is always on the way. And guys, just one more sleep.